So I decided to take on the ultimate test of bravery, known as drunk driving. And being the coward that I am, I had to do it in a controlled environment with a brick on my face. Now, nevertheless, thanks to the PSVR2, I can get a tiny glimpse into the mind of a drunk driver. It's amazing how only after a couple of drinks, I became so hyper-aware and conscious of my surroundings. Going into this, I was very naive. I really had no idea what to expect.
Here I am, my first attempt at drunk driving. I really hope this goes as planned. Whatever plan there is while drunk driving. The plan was that the drunker I got, the tracks became more sophisticated and the cars I drove would become faster. I deliberately engineered a disaster waiting to unfold. I had already downed a bottle before I even started, meaning my blood alcohol was actually within the legal range of a lot of places, but that won't hold true for long. To start out, I had picked an absolute sloth as my four-wheel vehicle of choice. Beautiful car, hippie van, perfect for driving intoxicated. Nothing went particularly wrong, like I didn't spin out or anything. I can see where I'm going at least for now. My motor skills are intact. The only highlight at this point was that the ship that I was steering really made me feel like king of the road. Share the road please, drunk driver coming through. The track was so easy to maneuver that I'm pretty sure I already lapped everyone else. And I even found time to drink my second bottle. It got so boring to the point that I had to end this quote-unquote race with like a bajillion more laps to go. Now the next car somehow had even less pizzazz factor. You could easily fit 4 of them in a 2-car garage. Compact, economy car, not too much going on. I can see why you have to be drunk if you'd ever want to drive this thing. So why not do exactly just that and take her out for a spin in the Daytona? It was here on out that I really started to exhibit behavioral patterns of a drunk driver, such as being overly aggressive towards Prius drivers. Passing the Prius, goof, you goof, Okay, whoops. And this chapter concluded with a 3rd place finish. Could be better, but podium finish nevertheless. Okay, so this is where I really started to get gutted. I started having random spurts of laughter, dizziness, nausea, and even just general VR motion sickness on top of that. And that's not even mentioning the brazen violence that I was putting on display. I should have just taken off the headset before it could ever get to this point. But no, I persisted through the trauma for the sake of this day in the life documentary of a drunk driver. And so it would be greatly appreciated if you liked and subscribed. What a classy car this is. I really hope it doesn't get totaled. I was now in the process of conquering my 3rd beer, and it really showed. That one must be the blood alcohol gauge right there. As previously detailed in my quote-unquote plan, as I got drunker, the tracks also became harder and curvier. This one in the British countryside was markedly more difficult than the other ones. Here it goes. No, please. I had spun out in less than 15 seconds into the race. No, please. Can you please pave the road where I'm going? You'll now come to witness as to why this chapter is titled Wrath. Out of my way, bitch. And this would just continue to get worse in the coming races, as the glug 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 had now finally unshackled my inner menace. In the rest of the footage I have from this chapter, I am so incomprehensibly unbearable that I can't even stand going through it right now, as I'm editing this footage, let alone reveal it to the public eye. So here's a sizzle reel of what I am willing to show from the rest of this chapter. To derail everyone. Whoa. Oh my god. Oh, helicopter. Hello. Oh, okay, that's too much.
It had really taken its toll on me now, to the point where I was slowly dissociating with my body. For half of the footage I have from this point forward, I'm slouched and bobbing my head from left to right. If I had continued this for 10 minutes longer than I did, I would have been put in intensive care. My taking off the headset when I did was an act of God, because if it were left to my own extremely impaired judgment, I would have fell unconscious mid-game. But thankfully, I lived to tell the tale, and as you could probably guess, it was disastrous.
I have yet to use my brake pedals this race.
At this level of intoxication, I had become a creature of impulse and nothing else. It wasn't enough that I was spinning out and crashing all over the place. The other cars would be coming with me. I made sure of it. Oops. At one point, I paused the game to flip off one of the other cars. What was I aiming to accomplish from this? I'll never know. I'm too sober to figure it out now. To add insult to injury, I decided to lock myself in the fastest car of the game, the Dodge SRT Tomahawk. And this car, by the way, is a complete work of fiction. Like, it literally doesn't exist. And once you take that into account, it makes sense why someone's idea of how fast this thing should be is just... This thing will literally do a wheelie if you accelerate too fast. So you can guess what was bound to happen once I was inside of it. I'm sorry. My endurance for this poop show had completely ran out, and I was ready to throw in the rack. And I was still depressed about how I couldn't drink the whole 12 bottles I'd initially planned. All the while, I was literally on the brink of passing out. But somewhere deep inside of my tiny brain, the voice of reason prevailed, and I took off the headset. And as I set it aside, I reflected on the dangers of drunk driving. Psych, I regret nothing, and I'll do it again.